got you, Miss Ford.
You were studying?
I got you.
You sure it's on?
Yep, just hit it.
Focused and on video and not slow-mo and everything else?
Yeah, it's on video.
All right. Okay. So, we haven't done practice quiz number 2 yet, right? No. All right, so that's what we're going to do right now. And I know it's Friday and you're all excited about, I don't know, whatever you get excited about, but we need to be focused. Because on Monday, you're going to have to be able to do a couple of these by yourself.
That's a scary thought.
I know. So let's look at the first one. Boy, that is a mess. Your quiz on Monday will have one that looks like this, okay? Isn't this number 2? Oh, I'm on number 3? Okay. Well, can we just do number 3?
Go for it. Bet. Run it.
I don't know. Okay. I promise we'll go back and do number 2.
As long as you promise.
I promise. All right. So we're going to do this problem. And your quiz on Monday is going to have one just like this. It's a big, long string of stuff. Do you have an idea what you might do to start simplifying this problem?
One of the codes.
Jonathan says 1 over stuff. That's his way of saying we're going to change it all into sines and cosines. So this is already sine squared over 1. There's nothing to do with that. However, secant squared is 1 over cosine squared. Now these are all times each other. So I've got 1 over cosine squared. What's cosecant? 1 over sine. What's cotangent? Cosine over sine. Now, if you don't have that stuff memorized yet, not only did you flunk today's quiz, but you're going to flunk Monday's because you got to know this stuff. So now, all that's multiplied. Okay? When things are multiplied, you're allowed to cancel them. So what will cancel? This cosine will cancel out with one of these. All right. How many sines do I have down here?
2.
Isn't that sine squared? So that sine squared will cancel with that sine squared. What's left on the top? 1. Everything else is gone. What's left on the bottom?
Cosine.
Just cosine. 1 cosine is left. Because we had 2 of them, but we canceled 1 of them. If you leave this as your answer, you get full credit. If you say, wait, that's secant, you get full credit. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. Okay? That's either one of those answers is fine. Now that wasn't too hard, was it? All right, so you're going to have one on your quiz that's like this. Just a bunch of stuff, and you change it all, and hopefully stuff cancels out. The other one you have on your quiz is going to involve the Pythagorean identities. All right, let's take a look at this guy. Nothing cancels, obviously, at this moment, right? Now, maybe something will later, but right now, it's not like this one. So take a look at that. What might you do, or what could you do? You don't really have many options, Liam. You could factor a sign out. So when I factor out a sign, and remember, if you don't like the thetas, you can change them to x's or something like that. Do not let the variable bother you. You have to have a variable in there, but it doesn't have to be a theta. All right, I'm taking it out. So what am I going to have left if I take out a sign? I have 1 minus sine squared. Kids, when you factor out the whole thing, like if you have a sign, if you're going to take it out, you need a 1 to hold that place. Now, your heart should be racing. Jonathan?
When you get tangent from cosine over cosine.
You could, but something else is going to happen I want you to think about. What's this right here?
Cosine squared.
1 minus sine squared is cosine squared. You got to remember that. 1 minus sine squared is cosine squared. So I have my sine. Now I have a cosine squared over cosine. The cosines will cancel, not totally. This one's gone, but one of those is going to stay. And that reduces or simplifies then just to sine times cosine. All right, now let's go to practice quiz number 2. And notice, I got the problems reversed this time, but you've got one with the squareds in it, the Pythagorean stuff, and then you've got one big long string, right? That's what your quiz is going to be like. So let's look at this one that's got the squareds in it. Now when I write that problem, I get all excited. Because why? That is secant squared. 1 plus tangent squared is secant squared. So I'm going to take that out and replace it with secant squared.
When did you figure that out?
Oh, well, long story there, but Mrs. Burnside, Marty's mom, made that for me when I was sick, and we could never get it figured out how to get the new one in, like a year ago. So the other day, I had Marty in class. The other day, I just said, Marty, I can't figure this out. How am I supposed to get boxed in there? So he texted his mom, and she told us.
I've been playing that for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Huh?
You like slide it.
You slide it,
That's
but
a bar.
what had happened was the paint had stuck it. So it wasn't moving, and I was afraid to break it. So he's got it all put together now. All right. Let me get another box of cleaners for the desk there. Okay, so what happens?
How did you think that was gonna play?
What happens? Here, look, this is where we are. What happens? They cancel, and we are left with 1 over secant, which is the same as cosine. Anybody have a question about that? All right, let's look at the last one then. All right, so we got this big long string of stuff. All right, how did we say we were going to approach this problem? We're going to go in and change everything into sines and cosines. So cosine squared is already there. Sine is already there. What about secant? 1 over cosine. What about tangent? Sine over cosine. Now, once you get everything changed into a sine and a cosine, then you stand back and say, all right, what cancels?
Over cosine.
How many cosines do I have down here?
2.
I got cosine squared, gone. Uh-oh, do those sines cancel?
No.
No, because they're both on top, so I'm going to multiply them together and get sine squared. So that one boils down to just sine squared. All right, what do you think? Everybody clear on what the quiz on
Monday.
Monday's going to be? Morgan.
Why would it not be over 1?
It could be. Yeah. Normally, we don't. I mean, our final answer, we don't put things over 1, but it wouldn't be wrong to put it over 1. It is over 1, yeah. Okay, so here's what I'd like to do. Go to the back of the front page of that packet. It says extra practice. And you may have already done some of these, I don't know. But I want to have you come up and practice a couple more.
No.
All right, so I am on the back side, and I'm just going to pick a few that look like they might be quiz questions. So I am doing number 18. If you think you can do number 18, come on up and do it. Look at that. Look at that big long string of stuff. Let's see if you can do it. And then
That hand over there.
think of this as another practice quiz. This is another practice quiz. And there's another one. So come on up. Give them a shot.
Sine squared, that would be.
Give them a shot.
Cosecant.
Joseph, you didn't cheat when you did this, did you?
No.
Because I wasn't watching it. I didn't even know you were doing it.
No, like I didn't. Bro, like.
We'll call him a pumpkin eater.
Yeah, I like pumpkin pie.
I would make him take it again.
All right, so we had Gabby and Robbie volunteer. Our front row came through for us. Good job. How about the first one? Sine times cosine, sine over cosine, cosine over sine, 1 over cosine. And then she started slashing away. Did she do it right? Looks like it. So that big, huge mess just comes out to be sine.
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
Ants are really in the problem.
And then Robbie said, whoa, whoa, whoa. 1 minus sine squared is cosine squared. So he has cosine squared over cosine, which reduces to just cosine. Beautiful. Yes, sir.
Can I fill my water bottle?
Oh my gosh, Jake. Sure. Go ahead.
Hey, stay
All right,
hydrated.
let's have one more set of volunteers. One more set of volunteers come up. Let's try 2 more. And then we're going to be ready for our quiz on Monday.
Just take it. Unless you want to end up sick, call them for 3 weeks like me.
Oh. Well, I'm not really, I don't have one written yet. All right, there's one practice problem. I would be happy to do that, right, if I had one written, but I don't. All right, here, I got one more up there. Trey, can you do it? Trey, can you do that? See that sign X there? How did that get to be 1 over something? That would just be sine over 1, right? I can't remember. It came out to be just one thing.
It was sine.
Can I just do it like that? That is exactly how you should do it. I don't know if you can read it or not, because he made it so small, but 1 minus cosine squared is sine squared. So he had sine cubed over sine squared, which is just sine. And then over here, Liam he changed it all. He had sine over cosine, cosine over sine, sine over 1 over cosine. So he kind of did this part in his head. When he multiplied sine times 1 over cosine, that gave him sine over cosine, which is tangent. Anybody have a question about that? Well, today is a very big day in our lives.
Ooh.
Get your note sheets out.
Oh, I'm scared.
Because today,
What's up?
we are going to talk about something called the law of sines. Oh, no. We love our law of sines.
Is it easy?
It is easy.
That. Come with your hair, boy.
So in your note sheets, we are now section 5.5, which is the back of page 40. You should have your 5.1 assignment completed. All right, or quote, this weekend you should get that completed. Doing that will help you prepare for Monday's quiz. Even though I have told you explicitly what Monday's quiz is going to look like. Okay? There are a couple of days between now and Monday. You do not want to forget our identities. Okay,
What about?
they're rubbing her head like, oh, Miss Ford. All right, look at problem number 1, or A. It says solve the triangle. Now, the first thing that I want you to notice, kids, is that this triangle is not a right triangle. So, the whole SOHCAHTOA thing is gone. Because when you use SOHCAHTOA, what does the H stand for? Hypotenuse. And if you don't have a right triangle, then you have no hypotenuse. When we solve triangles that aren't right triangles, we use either the law of sines or the law of cosines. So today we're going to talk about the law of sines. Now, some background information. When we say solve, we mean find everything that we don't already know. In a triangle, there are 3 angles and there are 3 sides. You will be given 3 of those things and you will have to find the other 3. So what's missing? Angle B is missing. I use capital letters for my angles. So that means the measure of angle B. I don't know this side and I don't know this side. The side across from angle B is called little b. And the side across from angle C is called little c. The 16 is actually little a because it's across from the A. Robbie? Would angle B just be 72, Robbie says.
Ooh,
What do you
that
think
math.
about that?
No.
Now wait a minute.
You're
How do
right.
we find, or what do we know about the angles of a triangle? They add up to
I
180.
noticed.
So 38 and 70 makes
108.
108. And 180 minus 108 is
72.
Who said Precal was hard? This is easy.
Tell them again.
So the measure of angle B is 72. Okay? Now, to find the sides, we're going to set up a proportion. Watch this. The sine of 38 over 16 equals the sine of 70 over C. Now wait a minute, just stand back and look at that for a second. You probably have never done this in your life, but just look at it. Sine 38 over 16, sine 70 over C. Why did I pair the 38 and the 16?
They're across from each other.
Because they're across from each other. That's angle A and side A. Now, does this make sense then? Angle C and side C?
Yeah.
This is called the law of sines. The law of sines is simply a proportion. It says the sine of A over A equals the sine of B over B and the sine of C over C. Now we only use two of those at a time, two fractions at a time, but you can use any two. Remember, what do the capital letters stand for? Angles. And the small letters stand for the opposite side. Okay? Alright, so here we go, we're going to solve it. We're going to need a calculator every day for these, so you might want to start bringing one. Alright, how do you solve something that looks like this?
Cross multiply.
Cross multiply. So I will have C sine 38, C sine 38 equals 16 sine 70.
That just sound hard.
I know it sounds hard, but it's really easy. C sine 38 equals 16 sine 70. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, you're trying to get C. So what do I need to do to get C? Divide by sine 38. So C equals that. So I'm going to type that in my calculator. Make sure you're set in degrees. And when you type 16 sine 70, be sure you close those parentheses before you hit divided by sine 38. Did you get 24.42 for side C? Now, we still have side B to find. Any thoughts on how we might find side B? Please do not say Pythagorean theorem. Why not? It's not a right triangle. If it's not a right triangle, you're not doing the Pythagorean theorem. We're going to set up another one of these. Can I do sine 38 over 16 again?
No.
Yes.
What?
Yes. I'm going to use sine 38 over 16. Now, what am I going to make it equal this time? No,
Sine 72 over
sine
D.
72 over D. Remember how the law of sines works. Sine of the angle over its side equals sine of the angle over its side. So then what happens? Do the same thing over again. What am I going to do? B sine 38 equals 16 sine 72. So what is B going to equal? What am I going to end up typing into my calculator? 16 sine 72 over sine 38. And just remember, when you type in that 72, you have to close that parentheses. So 16 sine 72 divided by sine 38. Did you get 24.72? You just did your first law of sines problem. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Law of sines, very easy. Let's try the next one. All right, so now we have DEF. And this is 48, and this is 71, and that's 8. So So which side is this? I'm gonna label it. Which side is this?
Small e.
Small e. It's across from e. So this would be small f. So we are looking for angle D, small e, and small f. That's our job, to find those three things. Now, you want me just to shut up once you do it?
Yeah.
All right, I will gladly do that.
Dang, class. Y'all foul for that.
I know, she just basically told me to shut up, but that's okay.
That word's Michelle Tanner.
Probably the week after next. At the beginning of the week after next. I got it done, so when you get done, maybe you're already done. Check your answers up here. Let me know if we don't match on something. You okay with that, peeps? That seem okay? Manageable? Now look at the next one. What's different about the next problem? There's no picture. So guess what? I gave you the information. You're just going to have to draw your own picture, which is not an issue. You all know how to draw a triangle. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Everybody's good with all these answers? So now the next one, we're going to draw our own picture. And take a look at that and see what you think. Now, where you put your A, B, and C does not matter. Okay, you can put it anywhere you want. But wherever you put angle A, wherever you put the 42, the 6 has to be across from it. So if your 42 is down here, then your 6 has to be over here. Because they are both A's. They match up. They've got to go across from each other. Austin, you follow along? Okay, so are we all busy now solving? How did I do? We gotta have a calculator every day, guys, to do these problems, right? I was gonna give a little quiz right now over that, but there's a bunch of these calculators, isn't there? Aren't there, I should say. We should still do it, we're just too bad for that, because we're not prepared. Well, yeah, I know. I could fund my spring break if I did that today. Everybody good? Law signs. All right, now you're thinking, I love the law signs, Mrs. Ford. Thank you for introducing me to it because it is so easy. I'd like you to look at the next problem, number 2. And let's just draw it. Just draw it, like always. So angle A is 20, side A is 12, and side B is 31. Now this one's a little bit different. Because before, all the other examples, I gave you 2 angles, so all you had to do was subtract from 180 to get the third one. This is a little different. But I wonder, could I still set up my law signs? What would that look like if I tried to set up my law signs just where I'm at right now? Sine 20 over 12, that'll work. Well, sine B, remember it's the sine of the angle over 31. Well, that's okay. Can we still cross multiply? Yeah. So we have 31 sine 20 equals 12 sine B. Now, that's your variable. So you're going to divide both sides by 12. So sine B, remember, you cannot split up sine and B. They stay together. So I end up with sine B equal to 31 sine 20 over 12. Now I want you to type that in. Is everybody okay with the arithmetic to this point? It's the same, just have a different variable. So I'm going to type 31 sine 20, make sure you close those parentheses, divided by 12. Now I got, did you get a decimal?
Yeah.
Like 0.88355, is that what you got?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about that. Does it say B equals that? Is that what it says?
No.
No, it says the sine of B is that. Now wait a minute. I am looking for this angle, right? And when I look for an angle on my calculator, I have a special button I use. What button is it? Second sign. So I'm going to second sign, now wait, second answer. And your answer button is above the negative sign on your calculator. So you second sign, second answer. And then hit equals, and it tells me that angle B is 62.07. Everybody still with me? Okay, Robbie, I want you to type that fraction in and hit equals. So you should have 0.88 or 355.
Bless you.
All right, now I want you to hit second sign, second answer. And answer is the negative key down there on your negative sign at the very bottom of your calculator. And then hit equals, and it should say 62.07. Before the sign, I'm not sure why you have that. No, it doesn't.
The signs.
Yeah, but that one doesn't. That's the one that you're waiting for extra. Second.
That's what it's just like here.
Dude, the first like you want to do it. Fight yourself up.
Now, this is the last thing we're gonna do. Oh shoot, we're out of time. We, believe it or not, are not done with this problem. So Gabby, I need you to remind me that I need to finish this problem, okay? Because we are not done with it. This one is tricky and we need to spend a little more time on it. On Monday, 2 things. Quiz, you know what it's over, and to bring a calculator. Bring a calculator on Monday, okay? Chris, can you